Hello, welcome to a word study on ears. It's week 39, and in this week I have just recorded and we're releasing our weekly episode. And week 39 is something that I urge you to watch in conjunction with this word study, because there were people who were not receiving and not hearing, and their ears were not opened to hear the true light walking in the temple on Hanukkah had to say to them. And I really think this word study goes really well with the events this week. It was requested by someone in our community. We allow people who come study with us to tell us what word studies they want, and this was a request. I was given the verse Psalm 40 verse 6, as you see here: sacrifice and offering thou didst not desire, mine ears hast thou opened, burnt offering and sin offering hast thou not required. It's a big psalm with a powerful meaning. And this word for ears in YahudYath, Aleph, Zayin, Nun, Ozan or Ozen, is both a noun and a verb. You know, we have two ears, though that's a noun. And we are supposed to hear, and that's an action of hearing, that's a verb. Your Strong's numbers are right there on the screen. And the basic meaning we see here is to hear, listen, to be obedient, and hearken. Now that's very similar to hear and obey, which is the Shema, the Shin Mem Ayin word. I think that they're related in a very interesting way because they're two different YahudYath words. And I suggest that you do compare them. I have, and wanted to understand when I first found on my journey, when I first found the Ozen word, I'm like, oh, ears. You know, you see, the Shema really doesn't, it's really not your ears. When you look at, you think about the physical ear on your head, it's this word, Ozen. When you think about Yeshua going and healing people with their hearing, and he's holding his hands over their ears, it's an Ozen. He's holding his hands over them to heal their hearing. As we continue down with the definitions, the common definitions, we've got ear as an organ of hearing, the receiver of divine revelation. So I certainly know that in the Brit Hadashah, some of the stories in the Gospels, the people who had their ears opened heard things that would be considered a revelation to them that they couldn't have heard otherwise. Now I've put in red some of the suspect biblical usages that I see, to advertise. Well, that is, to advertise something is an act in which some other people hopefully hear that, but the verb to advertise something is not. That's more like in lines with speaking, and I really would not put that here myself. Audiences, displeasure, hearing, and show. Some of those words are about what people do when they're hearing, but I turned in green the things that, up there in that section on the biblical meaning that looked true or rang true to me, at least in my ears. In the biblical usage section, we see, give ear, hearken, hear, perceived by the ear, gave good heed, weapon. Now, weapon is a verse I would go translate and look at. That I would find a little bit suspect. Ears, audience, hearing, show. The word show all by itself, it's not showing somebody something. You could do that without speaking and anybody having to hear anything. Here's the word: advertise, displeased, reveal, and tell. That's related to speech, not necessarily hearing. So again, those would just be some verses that I would go look at how this ended up being translated into this English. Okay, so when we look at the components in YahudYath and pull apart Ozen, what do we find? Well, we have a prefix that means I will. We have Zayin, which is in Strong's and inclines, and it means a sort, kind, or species. Species, diverse kinds, all manner of store. And I find it a very interesting root because all the words for whoredom and harlots, whether male or female, come from this root, Zayin. And that's something to note. Aleph Zain is a word. It has a Strong's number. It's an Arabic word that means then, therefore, at that time. It's an adverb. And there's lots of other things that it's been translated as, but it means at this point in time. And we have the suffix they will with the noon on the end. So that's breaking the word out and seeing what's there. So when we just look at the way we can break the word out with the component meanings, we have at that time they will, then they will. And I thought to myself, now that your ears are opened, you will change from this time forward. At that time, you're going to have hopefully shifted once your ears are open to something. And from that time on, it will be different. That's what I thought about. And then I thought, I will kinder species. And I'm like, My meditation on this part ended up looking like this. The word is a seed that is implanted hopefully in good soil, and what you hear gets implanted in you. You actually receive it. And we know from epigenetics research in modern times that what you hear and give heed to will influence your very DNA. And some people have done studies, and you can watch them demonstrate how your DNA is actually like an antenna. So you're receiving it into your DNA. Now, a recent video on language and hearing, the words really affect your reality and what you become. I mean, what you believe and you implant in your heart, that's all in Scripture. You know all the stories. So we're talking about I will become something based upon what I'm hearing and what I'm receiving in those ears. Now, words, Yeshua said, words that I speak to you, they are spirit and life. And we must receive and hear the true word so that it is implanted and imparts that life to be children of Elohim. Now, the darkness does not receive it. The darkness does not hear. The darkness will not receive the words that are right in front of them, the shepherd that's right in front of them. And this is part of what's being shared week 39. I'm going to put a link to the description in the video so you can go watch week 39 episode, because it's got people who are not listening and they're not hearing. Their ears are not opened. And there's consequences. And there are people who've heard darkness and fear the great shepherd and are even killing because of what they've heard and implanted in their hearts. It's a very hard week. Okay, when I looked at the YahudYath letters down here at the bottom, I saw, the Great Spirit speaks plans for life activating creative works which come to life even if they're not seen. See, in our ears come the plans, come the words, and it can activate things inside of us even if we don't see it yet. We're changing. We're becoming different people. The speaker will teach and lead creative works, talents to be energized and come forth. So you're receiving teaching, and you're going to do things with the talents you've been given, and you're going to be empowered to do things with the gifts you were given through this word. Great Spirit, Yahuah, Elohim. I know there's lots of words that people use. I just put a generic word out here. Great Spirit speaks commandments in different frequencies to energize a variety of species and life. Because in the beginning, Elohim spoke, and the world came. The word, the power of Elohim's speech, the power of Yahuah's speech, the power that was given to anointed prophets to manifest things was powerful. And just so you know, it's a scientific fact that medical research, medicine and teaches that the sound waves that come into our ears is turned into light because our brains process light. So the word spoken becomes light, becomes life inside you. This is just what John chapter 1 says. Okay, last one. The speaker communicates plans to be carried out using a variety of talents to energize the word implanted. It's just a slightly different way of saying it. Okay, now to go back to the verse that someone in our community gave me to do this word study, let's look at this again. Sacrifice and offering thou didst not desire. Mine ears hast thou opened. Burnt offering and sin offering hast thou not required. So David is saying in this psalm that Yah had to open his ears. And if you go read at the end of Deuteronomy, I can't quote the chapter and verse for you off. I don't have everything memorized. But at the end of Deuteronomy, just before Moses has finished speaking, he tells the people that it wasn't until that moment, at that day, that Yahuah had opened up their ears and their hearts to perceive what was being said to them. And I find different places in Scripture where it is our Elohim who must open up our ears. And so pray for that. Pray to have your ears open. Pray to have your eyes opened so that the truth will enter in, so that you'll hear it finally. Because week 39, the consequences for not hearing are really not good. And in our world today, I don't know, I talk about that in the beginning of week 39 video. So let's conclude the ears word study. It was a pleasure doing this for the person that requested it and for our viewers here on YouTube. Come study with us. Come join our little community where we like to do deep dives, where I teach the YahudYath Paleo Hebrew language, and we share and learn together as iron sharpens iron with love. Shalom.
Somebody, yeah. Body all the time, never takes a break, he's always right.